Hey girl, welcome to the Farmhouse Scullery, where I share inspirational conversations for a homesteading wife. Content tailored for you to get you to feel inspired, empowered, and motivated to fall in love with yourself more. You can find me on all socials with the handle at the Farmhouse Scullery. Please keep on listening for today's rant. Hey girl, nice to see you again. Today I thought I would give you some tips, us rural women, how we can raise our vibe, because, you know, we're a bit secluded as rural women. Okay, especially even mums. Mums in general, all we seem to see is toddlers running around half naked in this weather. Thinking about the garden that needs to be done and the kitchen, how it's a bomb, right? And the odd neighbour who decides to pop in a day you decide that you're not wearing a bra. So they say that the wise people of Google, I don't know who they are really, but let's just say that they are incredible people. They say you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if the people you're hanging out with are low vibe and they see the world in a way that you don't want to see the world, a way that you're trying to change the way you perceive the world, and that's not the same way, it's not aligned, then there's some things you can do that have these things have really helped me align to where I want to shift into, and it's really affected my mindset and how I've been feeling. So the first thing is input equals output, right? So I use time where my hands are busy, but my brain is completely free. So housework, driving in the car, going for a run or a walk. Those are my biggest things really, which as a mum takes up quite a bit of the chunk of the day, doing those things. I use them to listen to podcasts and listen to Facebook Lives on some topics that I'm really passionate about changing a mindset, or you're doing the right thing right now. A podcast about how to raise your vibe, you're in the right place. And it's basically like a Google University, right? You can learn anything on Google. So thank you, Google. And I'm happy to be living in my generation because it's pretty great. And watch out for triggers. If you see a pattern in times where you realize that your vibe is dropping down for me, it's actually after watching too much Netflix. Yeah, I admit it. There are times when I watch too much Netflix. Even if I'm watching it when I'm doing some housework or something, which often Netflix is a bribery for me to do in my kitchen when I don't want to listen to a podcast. Anyway, even when I'm not just sitting down and watching it, I can still find it's a bit of a trigger for me, for my vibe to drop down. And also back in the day as well, I used to watch horror movies with my husband. He loves them. Oh my gosh, I hate them so much. But I used to sit there, they get addictive, and you start watching and you're not finds out anyway. I realize that's a huge trigger for me. So I don't even go anywhere near it. Can't even hear the music anymore. I just know it's like a complete no-go for me. So I've set some boundaries. So set some boundaries around what your triggers could be. So listen to it, set some boundaries. Another big thing that's really helped me is thinking about and implementing into my life that life is happening for me, not to me. By thinking about this quite often, especially when there's a hurdle, I'm able to shift my perspective on what's happening. And it's through believing this saying that life is happening for you and not to you. You're able to objectively look at what's happening and be able to move through it and not get caught up in the emotions and the anxiety of the stress at that exact point, and be able to move through it and go, okay, God's got me. There's a lesson to be learned, or this door's being shut for a reason, and another one will be open. It's a different way of applying faith for me. So how people always say, oh, things happen for a reason, or when one door closes, it'll go up another one. It's another way that's phrased it for me, and it has really resonated with me, thinking that life is happening for me and not to me. This also enables me to be able to be present and not worry about things as much. Don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow has enough worry about itself, sort of thing. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Pretty sure that's a pretty famous Bible quote from Matthew 6:34, if I'm correct. And it's something that touched my heart when I was very early on in my Christian walk, actually. And now pairing those two things together, that life is happening for me and not to me, and don't worry about tomorrow, for it has enough worries of itself. It's like a match made in heaven for me. Pun. I did a pun. Oh my gosh, my family will be so proud. Oh my gosh. Can't wait for your messages, Neros. Celebrating that. And speaking of celebrating, actually, another way to raise your vibe is to celebrate your successes. Think of all the things you've accomplished in your life and spend 10 minutes writing it down. It's an exercise I did at one of the early stages of my personal development walk, and to sit back, and it sounds like a really impossible task, and then you set a timer, and I found myself writing for more than 10 minutes. It was really exciting and amazing to be able to celebrate those things, to put focus on them and to be thankful for them. Another big thing I'm thankful this week is that this podcast has reached the new and noteworthy Apple iTunes charting, which was my goal when starting this podcast, which I never ever thought was happen. When I found out, my coach messaged me on Sunday morning and told me, and I was absolutely over the moon. So thank you everyone for listening. I've had a huge response to it, and I think I've had 600 listens now to my podcast, I think, it's a month, actually. It's just a month and a couple of days since I launched the Farmhouse Gallery. So it's going great, thank you. And the last nugget I wanted to leave you with was, I reckon the most selfish thing you can do is do something nice for someone else, in particular a stranger. Because, I mean, when you take that old lady's supermarket trolley back from the car to the trolley, and she's like, oh, thank you so much. That warm, glowing feeling you have inside outweighs everything you could ever do. Like, that is the most selfish thing you could do because of that feeling that you get. Why would we not do it more? Like, it helps everyone, what goes around comes around, but it is so influential for raising your vibe, man. That feeling, whenever I do something little like that, it sticks with me for hours. So it's a really empowering thing to do for yourself and others. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you'd like to continue the conversation, I would love to. You can jump across to my Facebook page at the Farmhouse Gallery. At the moment, I also have a promotion going with my website. The first 400 people to sign up to my newsletter get my very special and protected, secretive chocolate cake recipe. It's been highly, highly requested because I actually used to sell cakes as a business. So if you'd like to go across there and please subscribe here, that would be awesome. Until next time, take care.